number one free to download game on Epic. We've hit several days in a row the third most streamed game in the world across any category. We've had over 3,300 streamers streaming us, most of them organically. We've hit
Amazing.
over 2 million streaming hours. We hit Forbes, CNET, most recently Saturday morning, Rolling Stone. I'm sorry, report came out. All of those things happened completely organically. We sit currently just 2 weeks after launch at over 8 million wallets. And we're not stopping there, it's just kind of going from there and accelerating from there.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Crowdcreate podcast, where we bring on thought leaders across multiple industries, this time including Web3, crypto, and gaming, to share valuable insights to help you grow your own business. So, Theo, would love for you to introduce yourself.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me here, Jeff. Theodore Agranat, Director of Web3 at Gunzilla. I've been a serial entrepreneur since 1998, found Web3 and crypto specifically in 2012. Started a family office in 2021, found Gunzilla towards the end of 2021, went full-time Gunzilla earlier this year. Prior to that, was an advisor and core team part-time, and now only focused on Gunzilla.
I love it.
Say that Gunzilla has that effect on people. We had numerous folks, right, that joined the project full time after being exposed to it for a while. We have Christian Sullivan from Republic Capital that went full time Gunzilla. Myself went full time Gunzilla, and even in the beginning stages of Vlad Korolev and Alexander Zoll starting the project, they attracted such massive, talent. Neil Blomkamp joined the project as a co-founder, right? The chief visionary, kind of genius film director behind such hits as District 9, Chappie, Elysium with Matt Damon, and last year Gran Turismo with Orlando Bloom. Richard Morgan is part of the team. He wrote Altered Carbon, which was turned later on to an award-winning Netflix show by the same name. So it's not just me. It's just this massive pull that this ecosystem generates in terms of this massive gravity attracting people and pulling people into the ecosystem to build like the coolest thing I've ever seen, for sure.
I love that. Share more about what is Gunzilla. Specifically, we read headlines. You raised over $30 million to support off-the-grid development. You're in the headlines for just doing kind of amazing things. But please share.
Of course. Yeah, obviously. Very, very exciting topic for me, especially because we finally can talk a little bit more openly about what's going on behind the scenes, because we just launched 2 weeks ago our early access on PC, PlayStation 5, and on Xbox, currently through the Insider program. And these last 2 weeks have been nothing short of phenomenal. We've hit, like you correctly said, the number one free to download game on Epic. We've hit several days in a row the third most streamed game in the world across any category. We've had over 3,300 streamers streaming us, most of them organically. We've hit
Amazing.
over 2 million streaming hours. We hit Forbes, CNET, most recently Saturday morning, Rolling Stone. I'm sorry, report came out. All of those things happened completely organically. We sit currently just 2 weeks after launch at over 8 million wallets. And we're not stopping there, it's just kind of going from there and accelerating from there. We've had top streamers that after their sponsored segment went back online again and said, "This is amazing. This is my game. I'm just going to continue playing." Tim the Tatman literally said, "This is my game." And that was not sponsored. That was absolutely a natural reaction. And what's really, really cool to see is the way Web3 was implemented so transparently and so smoothly and so user-centric and user-focused that we had Shroud saying that, major streamer saying that, wow, this is just like, why would you use Steam? You could save yourself millions of dollars and just build a marketplace on the blockchain. Another streamer said, hey, it's like serialized Pokemon cards. And they, tried the purchasing and selling and interaction with the marketplace, which is all on chain, of course. And they're blown away by how smooth and easy and seamless it is. And that's exactly what we're going for, right? Don't use technology just for the sake of technology. Use technology because it improves something for the end user, right? Our main responsibility is to create the most entertaining, most immersive experience for our gamers. And that, of course, includes this massively important topic that traditional gaming companies haven't properly addressed yet, which is asset ownership. Like for my own anecdotal
Mm.
evidence in my own life, right? We used to play Fortnite with my two boys and my wife. We had four Xboxes, four TVs. This was like a family activity, and um, we kind of did that for a while, and then kind of the kids moved on, and they came to me, both boys, and said, "Hey, Dad, so how do I get my money back from this?" And I'm like, well, what do you mean? They're like, well, I spent hard-earned cash from summer jobs and everything else, right, on this, and those are my items. I should be able to sell them, right? I'm like, that's not really how it works right now in the industry. And we got into EULA and what ownership means, and what large corporations are able to do or not able to do or get away with or not get away with. And they were shocked, right? They walked away shocked. To them, young teen or older teenagers, it was mind-boggling that the thing that they fully embraced, which is digital assets, and they're not at all into NFTs, right? It was just like about V-Bucks and skins, that those items are not theirs to own.
Wow.
Mind-boggling, right? So
Hmm.
that is obviously one thing that is at the core of our experience of why we chose to use blockchain technology, and that absolutely has been embraced by traditional folks, in a massive way as well. And we do have some folks that, for some reason, right, are just so dead set on saying that, anything blockchain related, is a scam and da da da, whether it's because they've gotten burned with other, projects that were not honest, or whether it is because of some, fundamental belief that everything should
Or
be
you
in a very
maybe
specific
share with
database.
the audience
Yeah, but
first, so that they understand what is skin trading. So when people play video games, right, there's Counter Strike. There's something called skins, and these skins would be anywhere from weapons to different in-game assets. And so, in the traditional Web2 world, correct that these skins are very hard to
correct.
trade,
Yep,
and these in-game assets. And so, what Off the Grid and Gunzilla Games is doing is being able to put that on the blockchain to make it easier and seamless to be able to trade in and out of these
correct.
valuable
Yep,
in-game assets, right?
absolutely. And yeah, just to highlight what we do have for assets, it is any cosmetic item, any skin, any weapon, we have cyber limbs, so you have different
Hmm.
limbs with different abilities,
Wow.
cyber legs that can make you jump higher, run faster, or be grenade launchers. We have attachments to all the weapons. Our emotes, our dances are also on-chain items that can be traded. And yes, it is currently virtually impossible to trade in-game items.
Wow.
For things like Fortnite, there's folks that sell their whole account on eBay, right, and risk getting
Oh,
banned and
wow.
blocked. People that are accused of cheating, you know, guilty until proven innocent. They just the access to the account gets taken away. They lose all of their items. There was a famous streamer that lost access to Fortnite, and he had like $20,000 plus in in-game purchases. And the company isn't going to pay you back. The company's like, "Oh, here's a refund. You were accused of cheating. No problem. Be on your merry way, sir." No, they're like, "Okay, you lost access. You lost access to all your skins as well." And yeah,
Oh
you
my
bring up the
gosh.
CS:GO marketplace. So that's currently a massively, massively huge marketplace, generating an insane amount of volume, but also not very easy to use. And that's exactly what we're tackling, right? How do you make this easy to use, transparent, verifiable, trackable? And how do you allow folks to have control over their own assets?
I'm reading this now. As of 2023, the global in-game asset economy was valued at $50 billion dollars, and it's projected to exceed $100 billion dollars by 2025. And that is primarily around Fortnite. It's around Roblox, as you mentioned. Even in the Web3 world, it was traditionally Axie Infinity. And
Yep.
so just gaming, the amount of money that's going into gaming as a form of entertainment, and how blockchain, as you said, makes it easier for people to be able to trade in and out of these assets and to own, using the renter and owner,
Yep.
example. So
But it
yeah,
goes even
that's
further. It goes even further than that, right? Currently, with traditional games, if a game says, "Hey," and there was even one case that happened a couple of years ago, a game that shall remain nameless, but they said, "Hey, we have this many items they were releasing," and then it ended up being that people kind of caught them in a lie that they released a lot more of these items because it was very profitable. If Gonzilla off the grid says tomorrow, "Hey, there's this legendary item, and there's only 1,000 of them, and you have to complete your tasks or whatever. It's on your battle pass. The quicker you complete your battle pass, the quicker you get access to that item, but only the first 1,000 get access, and then it's gone forever." people can actually verify that claim on chain. So you can see, yep, there's literally 1,000
Oh,
items in
right,
this,
right.
right?
Yep.
So the amount of trust that is built as a result of that can't be matched by private corporation that says, "Oh, it's going to be only this many. Trust us, trust us." Like why? I don't know. Load into a game and there's awfully a lot of these items. I don't know how many you sold. So it's even little things like that, that are then possible to verify. We are also the first ever battle royale game that has no company store. So
Oh,
instead of
wow.
constantly bombarding people with skins and buy this and buy that and with Gonson, etc., we only have a peer-to-peer marketplace. The only way to obtain a skin or an item is to play within a gaming session and to extract that item from the gaming session. And the only other way is to purchase it from a gamer that
Hmm.
went and played and extracted it from a gaming session. So it's always a very, very, very unique aspect. And in my opinion, a much more fair aspect than what other folks are doing in gaming.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. A lot of the lessons learned, I guess, in what would you call the early days of Web3 gaming and like version one of like NFT, and you hear about Axie Infinity or whatnot. Like, what was a thesis and what was learned in terms of long term sustainability for gaming and just an ecosystem? Would you say?
Well, number one, people learned that this doesn't work. We can't just keep pumping tokens into the ecosystem, inflating supply, and hoping that things will work out or that you're going to keep getting more people that are going to play this. I don't want to sound too harsh, but in essence, a lot of the early, first generation Web3 games were, thinly veiled, glorified staking mechanisms. So
Hmm.
you get a little bit more fun staking than just clicking on the stake button by itself. Now, again, I don't want to comment too much on it because it's really not that relevant, but I do see an issue with a game from the get-go launching something that has tokenomics that inevitably will lead to failure, and therefore the last people that will play the game will be the ones, losing their shirt. So I'm of course not a big fan of that genre at all of version one Web3 games, and I think that people have learned that there's better ways of doing things. I think people are seeing now, especially with Gunzilla leading the charge, that there is a way to create a product that people love and that people play and that people are willing to pay for without any of this other stuff, right? That is very detrimental to the long-term viability of a project. And we'll see, of course, a lot of projects, I think, as a result of this, not surviving. But I would argue that that's a positive for the industry as a whole. And we will see more and more gaming studios and game developers following in Gonzilla's footsteps and saying, okay, let's start from scratch, let's start fresh, and let's build something that gamers really love, and let's build something that is sustainable, and let's build something that is, really, really entertaining and immersive and awesome. And it doesn't matter what size or scale it's on, right? It could be something very small and you just engage a smaller audience, or it could be large, like what Gunzilla is building, and you engage a much larger audience. But it's all going to be fair, right? It's all going to be long-term sustainable, and focus on fundamentals instead of on hype.
Yeah, I love it. So I'm reading the headlines here. Forbes, popular new battle royale off the grid is actually a crypto game. And then here's another one. Off the grid exposes mainstream audiences to blockchain gaming. So how does your team actually doing it? Like the specifics, like how did you even get a hold of some of these major distribution platforms, which is Sony, Microsoft, like Epic? Did you hire on ex executives that used to work at those companies, or how are you organically meeting them doing the business development side of things?
Well, there's a couple of answers to this. Well, number one, we have over 360 people in our company right now, and I'm
Oh,
not in charge of that part of it. What I do know is that this team has built already successful game before. That of course was on major consoles, and so the focus was always to build a game for major consoles and to do it in a way that focuses all on the gamer and provides a very entertaining and engaging experience.
nice. Yeah, just some of the leadership there. Can you kind of highlight your backgrounds and
Absolutely,
how?
for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's where it gets really, really interesting. So the founders, Alex Zoll and Vlad Korolev, are experienced business folks that have built multiple companies prior to this, and as a result of that, put their money where their mouth is and funded all of the initial development of Gunzilla themselves. They invested
Oh,
$15 million of their own capital and bootstrapped this company for the first 2 years of its life, got it to 100 employees and a playable prototype. Brought Neil Blomkamp on board, brought Richard Morgan on board, and a bunch of other extremely talented individuals. Timo Davidenko is on board, who's the creator of the Cry engine that was used in Far Cry and Crysis and was the gold standard for testing GPUs and later on sold to Amazon and now it's called Lumberyard, and a bunch of other incredible individuals. And so yeah, Vlad right
This is
there, CEO and
2020,
co-founder.
2021. Is that when Gunzilla started?
2020, nope. It started 2 years prior to that. In 2021 was the first time that Gunzilla went out with a public fundraise. And
Oh,
at
got
that
it.
point in time, they started raising money from investors. But prior to that, it was all completely bootstrapped. And
Wow.
as I mentioned in before, right, we have Neil Blomkamp, who's creating the whole vision for everything visual in this, who created District 9, Chappie, Elysium, and last year Gran Turismo for Orlando Bloom. If you haven't seen that movie, watch it. It's absolutely fantastic. It's about this gamer that plays a racing game on PlayStation, a game called Gran Turismo, and then ends up being sponsored and wins the Le Mans race in real life. It's absolutely incredible. But anyway,
Wow.
so folks like of that caliber, right, started working on building this game and had this vision of not releasing it until it is just the best battle royale game out there.
That's
We call it
amazing.
the Battle Royale 2.0 experience. It is features that no other Battle Royale game has, right? Starting with these 60 hours of storyline on both sides of the conflict, written by Richard Morgan. There's no Battle Royale game out there that has a storyline. And the biggest complaint, or one of the biggest complaints that traditional shooter players have about Battle Royale games and why they don't play them is that there's no storyline. Coming back to my example of
Mm.
playing with my boys and my wife Fortnite, we always bought the Battle Pass. I never finished it, ever. My wife didn't finish it either. And one of the items, for example, to progress was jump 10 times off of a waterfall. Even the
Mhm.
first time was mind-numbing and boring. The second and third time, I couldn't do it anymore. So we have 60 hours of storyline on both sides of the conflict, and it's integral to the Battle Royale experience. So you might have seen last year's game trailer, 60-minute game trailer we had played by streamers, where one team took the mission to take an asset and safely bring it to an extraction point. And the other team's mission was to prevent that from happening, to eliminate that asset and prevent it from reaching the extraction point. And you had that happening while the whole Battle Royale experience was going on around you. So that's one. Two, as I already mentioned and touched on, only a player-to-player marketplace, no company store. And
Mhm.
three, last but definitely not least, we have almost infinite strategic choices that we give to a gamer as a result of very unique limb system and limb management system. So in other games like Call of Duty Warzone, for example, you can change your weapons, you can get some grenades, grenade launchers, etc. But you are you as an individual with a very specific set of skills, and the only thing that changes is the weapon. Or you could take Apex, which Apex that allows you to pick a specific archetype, and based on that, has a specific set of skills. But you can't change them. In
Wow.
our game, you find limbs and legs in real time on the island because everyone lands with just a pistol and your starter legs and starter arms that don't have any specific features. And you could find an arm that has the grenade launcher in it. You could find an arm that's an energy shield and then collects bullets and reflects them, shoots them back at the user. You could find a grappling hook. You could find a fist that slams into the user and damages them. You could find legs that make you jump high. You could find legs that make you run really fast. And all of that in real time and at different levels of rarity. So, an epic grenade launcher arm might recharge quicker than the common one that recharges slower. And you can change these limbs on the fly. It goes even as crazy as being able to shoot off somebody else's limbs, walk over there and steal them. You could shoot somebody's legs off and they're still crawling around, like crawling away, trying
That's
to find themselves
amazing.
legs. There's clips out there of people winning after crawling away from a gun battle or after jumping off and getting fall damage and losing their legs, crawling away, sniping at people, finding legs eventually, pulling them back on again, and running and doing their thing and winning the game. So the strategic options are so much richer and so much more engaging, and people absolutely love it. So we call it the Battle Royale 2.0 experience.
Nice. Very cool. Yeah. And the fact I'm pulling up a Rolling Stone article here.
Yeah.
And yeah, District 9 director Neil Blomkamp's new game. And so really bringing in people that have created amazing version 1 games, and now you're bringing them in to create version 2. With that, Avalanche, they've been your launch partner. Can you get into the specifics on like choosing them as your ecosystem partner and what kind of brought about that decision and how it's been?
Absolutely. First of all, we absolutely love our Avalanche partners. They have been absolutely amazing in their technical support, their marketing support, kind of right from day one. But the background on that is that we, right from the get-go, said that in order to have a good, gamer-centric user experience, we must have our own token for gas. So we can, in the background, seamlessly and transparently, do whatever we need to do with our own token for gas. And we tested out also through different chains, and Avalanche, specifically the Avalanche subnets, were the only ones that were able to facilitate that. And so we built our whole Gunzilla chain on top of a highly customized, kind of modified Avalanche subnet. And then from there, we proceeded to build our own wallet, our own blockchain scanner, our own NFT marketplace, all these things we built internally, which then allows us to, after our own main game launch, to start onboarding other AAA gaming studios and allow them to white label all of the tools that we've created for ourselves. And that's kind of the growth plan, right, for the Gunzilla ecosystem, to onboard other games, allow them to white label all of these things and onboard them into Web3.
You specifically chose Avalanche because it was the best technical
That is
platform
correct.
at that
That
time.
is correct.
Wow. Interesting. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Theo, this is fantastic. Obviously, people, you need to go try out the game. Anything in
Absolutely.
closing that
Yeah,
people should know?
yeah, a couple things in closing. Number one, go to @PlayOfTheGrid on X. Follow us
Mhm.
for announcements. Lots of incredible stuff is coming. As I've announced at the Avalanche Summit, we're launching a new content pack that will set the Twitter sphere on fire, and not just crypto Twitter, but
Mhm.
Twitter in general. And then, of course, playofthegrid.com to download the game either on the Epic Store or on the PlayStation Store, Xbox Insider Program, and try out the game. Kind of seeing is believing. A lot of people are like, oh, yeah, whatever. But then once they try the game, they're like, oh my God. So, yeah, play the game, try it out, follow us on socials, and lots more coming. We're just getting warmed up.
Love it. Well, that's that. Thanks, Theo.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Okay. Let me